Hey, welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dylann Crush, and I am here with my co-hostess, Dawn Luedecke. And tonight we have not one guest. We have two guests, but one of our guests is actually two people. So if you're watching us on video, you'll see there are five of us here tonight. So we've got a crowded screen, which is awesome because that doesn't happen very often. So yeah, welcome, Dawn. Hadn't seen you in a while. We just saw your new dog.
Yeah,
that I've never met. What's going on with you besides you hiding a dog that you've had for 6 months that I've never met?
Yeah, she's actually my husband's dog, so that's
Well, but
why.
everybody knows that when your husband gets a dog, like, you're probably the one that actually does all the work,
Yeah,
right?
actually, we're starting dog training on the 6th.
Mm, okay.
And yes, I'm the one that's taking her.
Is she a puppy?
She's an adolescent right now.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
she's
another
she's a
teenager in the
6 month kid.
house. How
Yeah.
fun.
She's an Aussie. She's a toy Aussie, so she's pretty good. She's a really well behaved, and she takes a lot of cues from our English Mastiff. So,
Mhm.
as far as camping goes, she doesn't wander off,
Oh, that's
which
nice.
is good, and she listens, which is good out in the woods with wolves and
Mhm.
stuff and bears. And but yeah, her name's Mishka. It means little bear in Alaskan Inuit. So we decided to do that because we lived in Alaska for a little while. So we love that. And she looked like a little bear when she was a puppy.
Mhm.
Little,
She's very
well,
cute.
colorful bear. But yeah. So that was our puppy. I am just working on getting my computer to stay alive, Dylan. I think some of our viewers remember last week or last
Mhm.
episode when all of a sudden like I wasn't there and then I had to get on my phone. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, you had some major technical difficulties last
I
night.
did. I did. Yeah.
So yeah, so we're hoping that we get to see you the whole time.
Yeah, and
Just so.
because I'm like 50 miles from the nearest anything store other than a grocery store, I haven't gotten into getting it fixed or a new computer yet. So, yeah. That's me. What about you? You're the one that with all the exciting stuff going on, you were
I don't
somewhere.
know. I don't have very no, I haven't been anywhere since our last show. Um, yeah, I'm up at the cabin and it's like 56 degrees out and raining, so I've been freezing. I brought shorts and t-shirts thinking that I would finally get to go out on the lake and kayak, and so I've been hunkering down and covering up with blankets because I was not prepared.
But you are writing on your Eve's Mountain Man
Yes.
book, so you can
Yes.
channel that. You can channel that
Maybe.
so well.
I mean, I feel like if I had a, big burly mountain man here, well, first of all, I probably wouldn't be on the show tonight. But also I probably would be cold.
Yeah.
But I would
Well,
probably also be getting divorced because my husband would be like, no. But anyways, yeah, no, I am. I announced it in my newsletter today, but I do have a new Mountain Man series coming out under my Eve London pen name, and that first book is coming out at the end of July, so it's coming right up. So I'm working
so
on
you're
that series
busy.
right now. Yeah, and then I do have two events that are coming up. I did go somewhere. I did a
Yeah.
local little brewery adult book fair. Have you guys done any of those where you
Mm.
are? It seems to be like this, I don't know, trend that has been happening. There've been a couple here, like around here, past couple months, and they've been a lot of fun. Where I don't know, you get to go in. It's like an adult scholastic book fair, and especially the ones at the breweries. I mean, you can sip a cocktail or a beer and shop books and all that kind of fun stuff. So I did do that on Sunday. Maybe that's
Dylan,
what you're thinking of. Yes.
I've got to tell you something. I know you're coming here to
Uh-oh.
Montana for a writing retreat with you
Mm-hmm.
and your but we just got a new romance only bookstore in Missoula.
Oh, I was
So
gonna say, in your teeny tiny town?
no,
Okay.
we barely have a grocery store here.
Right, right. I was going to be amazed.
No, in Missoula, there is a new romance only bookstore
Ooh.
called FMC, female main character.
Oh,
That's how she,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm very excited. So if you guys come down and want to just like pop down for a book signing, I can get that set up. She's just opening up her front store.
That would be way fun. We'll have to keep that in mind. Yeah. Montana writing retreat is in the works with Casey Rose, my co-author of the
Yes.
Mustang Mountain books. So we're talking about that, which means we might actually see each other in person. How long has it been, Dawn?
Since like 2018.
Yeah, I think it was pre-COVID that I saw you in person, and that was when you were still living in Virginia.
19. Yeah, 19. I think you came.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
came by. So forever. Yep. And yes, I'm in Montana. I'm in the town where Yellowstone is filmed. The girls asked earlier. So I am in the town where Yellowstone was filmed. We did have a tourist call me today to ask if she could stay in the Dutton farm, Dutton Ranch. And they said
because you're working for the Chamber of Commerce, not because your phone number is listed as like the contact for all of Darby, Montana.
Okay. That is correct, because I work for the Chamber of Commerce during the day.
So maybe there's a little information missing there. So
she said, "Can I stay at the Dutton Ranch?" And I said, "Well, it's the Chief Joseph Ranch." But I think you can still. And then I gave her all the contact information for it. But they are booked out till 2026. So if you're if you're coming to stay at the Dutton Ranch, it's booked out for a year. Just so you know. But
yeah, we should probably introduce our guests because that's the whole reason we're here. So we tonight are joined by Gia Cobie. And also we have both authors who make up Ali Brady. We have Allison and Brady. And I know that everybody's going to be eager to hear their story because we haven't had too many co-authors on. So it'll be interesting to see how you guys do everything together. But first, welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So Gia, why don't you go first and just kind of tell everybody a little bit about you and just whatever you want everybody to know.
Oh, wow. Okay. No pressure. So I am from New York, but not like the downstate cool part. I'm from upstate. So like up by the Adirondacks, if anyone's familiar with the area. So lots of outdoorsy things and stuff. Let's see. I used to be a librarian. So I worked as a librarian for 17 years before I switched over to full-time writing. So that's been kind of a cool transition. But I always say, like, I kind of spent my life around books. Either I was buying books or reading books or now writing books. So that's kind of cool. And
that would be cool to buy books for a living.
Yes.
The whole job is deciding what books that you're going to buy. And paying for it. That would be, I think, a lot of people's dream job.
Yeah, it's definitely like an interesting perspective because, you know, I was the one buying the books and now I'm like, what am I going to do to get people to buy my books? And it's like, yes, it's true. I did buy the books based on the covers a lot of the time. So, and let's see. I do mostly like romantic suspense. So that's kind of my thing. Protective heroes and former military and first responders and small town and all of that. But definitely lots of twistiness. That's one of my favorite things is unexpected twists. So I try to tell my husband, I'm like, if he says, oh, wow, then I figure that's good.
Love it. And Ali Brady, I don't know how you guys want to introduce yourselves, but
we usually start with me because I'm the Ali part. So I'm Allison Hammer, and then we go in order of our pen name. But I'm Allison Hammer. I'm the Ali half of Ali Brady. I live in Chicago, and during the day, I'm a creative director for an advertising agency. My job's actually in Annapolis, Maryland, so I travel back and forth quite a bit. I also run a nonprofit called the Artists Against Anti-Semitism, and then write. So don't have too much spare time, but in contrast to what you'll hear Brady say, I don't have any pets, plants, or kids. So it's just me that I have to worry about.
I'm envious of you.
Nice,
I got all of those gardens, children, husbands, everything.
I've tried having plants, but I killed a succulent once. So I killed
a fern. They grow under trees. I killed a fern. I get it. I'm with you. We're the same now. Okay.
Well, I'm Brady. I'm the Brady half of Ali Brady, and I live in Utah. And I work as a doctor, and I have 4 kids, and I have 2 dogs and a stray cat that is now our cat that we're responsible for. And I also can't keep plants alive. My husband is the plant daddy of our home, so I don't.
Plant daddy, I love that.
He literally has an app. He has a plant daddy app, and he like follows what it tells him. Has a whole. It's very cute, actually.
I love that.
Is it literally called Plant Daddy?
No, it's called something else.
It should be.
I call it plant
Totally
daddy.
should be.
Okay.
That's your $1 million idea. You go and make us a
Yes.
Plant Daddy app, and we'll.
You could, I mean, that's the same thing as dude wipes. You could totally like sell the crap out of that.
Love that.
So funny.
Jen is already asking a question. She wants to know, what kind of doctor are you?
Yes.
I am a doctor who specializes in physical medicine and rehab. It's very little known specialty, but I work with veterans with disabilities, primarily amputations and neurologic issues.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
It's funny when I have a stressful day, I'm like, there's a deadline. I mean, it's very, she does important work.
Yes, no kidding. Well, and there are a ton of romance novels too that deal with that, with, retired military and things like that. So I'm going to kind of tuck that away, that you might be a good resource if I ever find myself writing
I just wrote it down. I was
yeah. That would be really interesting. You got to make sure you get all your details right. So, all right. Well, should we get into it, Dawn? Anything else you want to say before we turn it over to Gia? She's going to read for us first.
I better not. I'll just word vomit.
So you're going to actually try to be good tonight, is what
I will try really hard. Yeah.
So Gia, you want to show us the cover? I know you held it up before.
Well, the book's not out yet, and I don't even have the author. I don't have anything, so I just printed this out.
Okay. Nice.
It'll look nicer when I actually have the paperback, but it's coming out on July 8th.
Okay, and that's the book you're reading from tonight.
Yes, that's the book I'm reading from.
And are you starting from chapter 1? Is there anything?
It's not exactly. When you said that earlier, I was like, "What chapter is this?" It's chapter 3. So, but we're right in the thick of it because like I said, I do suspense. So this one starts off with like a pretty big, not a literal bang, but a bang. So it's happening.
Okay, we don't need any background or anything, or.
You know what? I don't. They woke up. I'll give you a little background.
I was going to say, we'll just jump into it. We love that.
I'll give you a tiny bit of background, but not too much because I didn't want to spoil it. But they're kind of strangers. They've barely met, and of course, there's a spark because when is there not? But they find some things happen, and they find themselves waking up after being drugged, and they're on an island in the middle of nowhere. And they're at this point in this where I start, they're just starting to discover what's going on and what they have to face in order to survive. So it's pretty dramatic, and just like backstory, like this is the final book in the series, but it also can be read as a standalone. All of them can. So don't have to feel like, oh, I haven't read the other one, so I can't read this one. You absolutely can.
Okay. So. Great. Well, I am already intrigued. Everybody else is with that kind of a setup. So let's
I feel like I'm channeling my inner librarian now with my read aloud. So
we'll leave you to it, and we'll be back when you're done.
Okay. All right. So feel a little nerdy, but okay, here we go. It feels like only minutes ago I was standing in my kitchen, looking through the window at Eric's cabin, wondering if I should go over or not. I can practically smell the slightly scorched cookies, the annoyance of having to bake another batch still fresh in my mind. Did I really think that was the worst my night could get? Some ruined cookies and possible heartburn? Ha! If I'd only known. Would I have stayed home, turned my attention away from the window, and reassured myself that a man like Eric would be fine with a handful of candles? busied myself with the minutiae of the evening and fallen asleep with a wistful pang of regret, wondering what would have happened if I had been brave enough to make the trip. I might still be home now, or rather, judging from the position of the sun, just starting work. I'd be prepping the lakeside cabin, Ralph's nicest and most expensive property, for the tenants before they arrive this afternoon. I'd be arranging the newly baked cookies on the kitchen counter, along with the little baggie of dog biscuits for their lab. Everything would be normal. Or would it? What if those men were there for me? What if my troubles in Albany somehow followed me upstate? What if Daniel went much further than I ever dreamed? Could he? Would he? What if it's my fault Eric's here? What if those terrible men went after him solely because of his proximity to me? I can almost picture it, a car lurking in the dark, watching my house, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. And then I hand it to them, leaving the safety of my home and venturing out into the storm, heading to a house with the power out, no less, where they could have easily approached without notice, if not for whatever improvised security system Eric added. No. Daniel was dishonest and creepy and, as my mom would have put it, a terrible turd face. But to arrange for a kidnapping, drugging me and my innocent companion, bringing us here? Why? What would it accomplish? He was more than a turd face, really, more like a total a-hole. But to resort to this, I just can't see it. Tatum, Eric's voice is barely above a whisper. We need to move. Are you still sure you want to come with me? I jolt in surprise, shocked at myself for allowing my mind to wander for even a few seconds. We've only been standing within this small group of trees for a minute, maybe two, not nearly time enough to get distracted, especially considering the terrifying circumstances. But I think I know why. My brain doesn't want to believe it. It's easier to focus on the whys and what ifs than the hows. Like, how do we get out of here? How do we avoid getting shot in the process? And how do I know I can trust Eric? How do I really know he's not behind all of this? Just because I saw the men go after him doesn't mean it couldn't be part of the plan. Set up Eric as the hero instead of the villain, and in the process convince me to trust him. Then he could lead me anywhere. I mean, I practically begged Eric to take me with him. So if attacking him was a ploy to gain my trust, clearly it worked. Tate. Eric looks down at me, worry etched into his features. If you changed your mind, it's okay. I was thinking I could probably hoist you into one of the trees. I think you'd be well hidden in there. Then he pauses, frowns. In that same careful way he touched me before, he brushes his thumb across my swollen cheek so gently it doesn't hurt. Are you feeling worse? Dizzier? Any shooting pain? Don't be afraid to tell me, please. If you need to lie down, it's okay. I'll stay right here with you. And there. That's how I know I can trust him. Not just by his words, but the look in his eyes, a look that tells me my safety is more important than anything. It's in the way he shielded me instinctively with his body when the shots fired. How kind he was when I woke up, disoriented and in pain, not remembering much of anything. But it goes back even before that, to meeting him on my morning hike and just knowing, despite all the warnings I hear about coming across strange men in the woods, that he wasn't going to hurt me. To his smile as he invited me in, and the way he immediately gave me an out when he realized it might make me uncomfortable. To the way he blushed when he mentioned meditation and how he tried to hide his laughter when I said that silly not curse in front of him. Maybe I'm being foolish listening to my gut instead of my brain, but my gut tells me I can trust Eric, that whatever we're caught in the middle of, he had nothing to do with it. No, I'm okay, I say. Well, mostly, aside from my throbbing head and churning stomach and fear clawing at me from the inside, but aside from that, I'm great. Eric raises a skeptical brow and I amend, not worse at least, but I haven't changed my mind. Let's go, wherever you think is best. I glance up at the sky, trying to remember what I learned back in elementary school about using the sun as a compass. Do we want to head in any particular direction? I think west, he replies. No reason other than to be consistent. I'm hoping we find a stream to follow or a hill that'll give us a better view. Okay. I slide my hand into his outstretched one. His fingers curl around mine in a firm but gentle grip. Okay. But as he starts to tug me clear of the cover of trees, my feet don't want to move. In this little copse of pines, I can pretend we're safe, that no one can see us. But the instant we get back out into the open, Eric glances back at me with brows raised in concern. Tatum? Crud. I'm the one who said I wanted to go. Why am I chickening out? Why am I chickening out now? Yes, I force my feet to move, feeling a bit like an uncoordinated puppet with its strings half cut. I'm good. Let's go. But I'm not good. Not at all. With each step further into the woods, my fear grows even more. I can barely hear anything above the jackrabbiting beats of my heart. I know I need to be quiet, but it's hard to control my panicked breaths. I try to use the different techniques suggested in my meditation app, but none of them seem to work. All they accomplish is making me more lightheaded and dizzy than I was already. My hand is locked around Eric's, sweat slicking my grip. I'm terrified I'll lose hold of him and somehow get left behind, so I dig my nails into his skin for insurance. In comparison to me, Eric looks enviably confident. He walks with purpose every step sure. His gaze is on a swivel, taking everything in. While I feel on the verge of a heart attack, he seems completely unfazed. Could I have a heart attack? I'm only 34, which I'd normally assume is years too young, but considering how scared I am, I worry it might be possible. Every 20 feet or so, Eric glances over at me, silently assessing, searching my face for any sign of a setback or complication, or possibly to see if I've changed my mind, if I want him to help me up into a tree to hide. The answer to that is a big fat nope. I think if I had to sit in a tree all alone, just waiting for someone to come along and find me, I really would expire from fright. I'm not sure how long we've been walking, minutes or hours, before Eric pulls to an abrupt stop and yanks me to his side, wrapping his arm around me. Don't move, he murmurs close to my ear. I think I see something. My heart stutters, stops, sluggishly starts up again. In an equally quiet tone, I ask, what? Just a muscle works in his jaw. Intensity practically radiates from him, every muscle tensed and ready to move. He lifts his chin, angling it slightly to the right. Over there, in the grass. Do you see something shiny? I narrow my eyes as I follow his gaze. At first, all I see is a thicket of tall grass, just like the dozens of similar ones around us. Then, upon closer inspection, I see it. Just a tiny shimmer of silver amid the thick green blades. Yes, I whisper, what is it? If possible, his expression gets even more intense, more dangerous. I think it's a tripwire, he says. I'm not sure how far it goes, but I've seen them before, and he bends down and scoops up a large branch from the ground. We could backtrack, but if I could set it off instead. Set it off? Intentionally trigger a tripwire? That sounds unwise, to say the least. Are you sure that's a good idea? Maybe we should just go around. I want to know what we're up against, he replies. If this is actually a trap, how big it is, and from back here we'll be safe if it does go off. Unless it's a massive explosion is on the tip of my tongue, and we get blown up right here. Eric turns to me. In the Army, my specialty was explosives, locating them, disarming them, deliberately triggering them to mitigate damage. I know you don't have reason to believe me, but I wouldn't consider this if I wasn't confident in what I'm doing. Well, when he puts it that way, and it's not like I have a better idea, aside from going back where we came from and trying a different route, which could have a tripwire we can't see the next time. I give him a jerky nod. Okay. He holds my gaze, solemn and steady. Get behind me. Hold on to the back of my waistband. Don't move until I tell you to. My heart twists. He's protecting me again, shielding me with his body so if something bad happens, I won't get hurt. I don't argue, don't hesitate. I just move behind him and hold on to his waistband for dear life, silently praying that we both get out of this okay. Eric lifts his arm, the branch held high in the air. Distractedly, partly because his arm is in my immediate vision, I'm sure, I notice how big his biceps are, how they flex as he pulls his arm back to throw, the vein that pops against his golden skin. Is it bad that I'm ogling his arm right now? Or is it a comfort, knowing that his very impressive biceps will be the last thing I see in case his plan goes south and we both end up dead? And that's it.
You get everybody unmuted here. Oh,
Yay.
they muted themselves. There we go. That was awesome. Thank you so much for
Thanks
sharing.
for letting me share it.
Absolutely. Well, and you did such a good job reading too. I know sometimes people get really, really nervous when they're on here, but yeah, I was like, you were like making eye contact and everything. So that was
It's the
great.
years of doing read alouds in the library.
I bet.
Ah,
Yeah. So you said this is the third book in the series?
It's the sixth book in
Oh,
the series.
sixth. I'm sorry. I don't know where I got
It's totally
third
fine.
from.
Sixth book, but can jump right in at the end if you want. And then you want to read the rest, I hope.
And is it a different couple in every book?
It is. It's a different, so it's a security team. So that's, so basically they're all former military. And this particular team is located in Texas, outside of San Antonio. And so each book is a different couple, but there is a, overlap. So you like get to know all of the couples as you go. And there's, it's all part of like a big overarching world. So if you like one, you can jump into the other series and they all sort of tie together.
Great.
so how did you get the idea for your book?
For this one,
The series and then the book, I guess.
so this series is actually So the first series, this is a spinoff. So the first series is Blade and Arrow Security. And that one is located in New York. And then they have increased needs. So they have a second team, the Bravo team, that then starts up out in Texas. And so really, I just try to come up with like the craziest possible ideas I can think of. So this particular one is one of my favorites. It's definitely, I wanted to, knowing it was like the last book in the series, I wanted to make sure that it was, I know every book you want it to be good. It's not like you start a book and go, well, I don't really care about this one. But I was like, this has to be really good because it's the last one and everybody loves these couples. And now they've been waiting for this guy to get his story. So it has to be extra good. And I had the whole thing planned out. And then like the day before I was about to write the book, I was like, this plot sucks. And I came up with a whole new plot and it turned out to be 10 times better. And that's, I said in the beginning, my sort of, it's like, I tell my husband about my stories and he kind of is like, could you tell me that faster? Like, no, I can't tell you a 350-page book in 10 seconds, but he does listen. And I kind of get like, if the bar is pretty high. So if he's like, if I get oh, wow. Yeah. That's pretty interesting. Then I think, oh, yes, got it. And when I told him that one, he was like, oh. And then he goes, where did you come up with this idea? Yeah. And I think he was a little nervous about me because my stories have some pretty dark things that happen sometimes. So in this one in particular. So
your husband sounds a lot like mine. I appreciate him.
He's very, very patient and he's very understanding, but like sometimes he's not interested in hearing my romance stories. And he's like, you couldn't have just told me that faster. And I was like, no, I can't.
It's like, okay, I might be dating myself, but who has seen Friends? Like I have. And then you bought the sweater. Yeah. And then you bought the sweater. Is that Friends or no? That's Everybody Loves Raymond, right? That's Everybody Loves Raymond.
I don't know.
That's Everybody Loves Raymond. He's like, and then you bought the sweater because she was telling him a story. No, I get that. My husband does that to me all the time. So
sometimes though, I feel like I'm a verbal processor. And so, I don't need him to say anything back. It's like I can work out like a whole plot issue if I just talk to him out loud, but I can't talk to myself out loud. There's, and fix things. I don't know why, because he, sometimes offers absolutely no value to the conversation whatsoever. But yeah, maybe I need to try talking to my dog.
I mean,
and try to
maybe it's because occasionally they'll throw it like a what, and then you'll think like, yeah, what? And then I who knows? And then it'll put you on a whole train. Try talking to your dog or the beavers.
Yeah. Occasionally he'll say something like, rarely, but sometimes he'll say, that doesn't make sense, or a guy wouldn't do that. And I'm like, initially I'm like, of course they would. And then I realized, well, he is a guy and maybe he's right. So maybe a guy wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's good. So
go ahead, Dawn.
I was just going to ask Ali. Okay. I'm like reading your names, like Ali and Brady. Yes. The same thing. Sorry. How about you guys? Do you how do you get ideas for your book? And do you also your husbands or friends even like tell you, no, that wouldn't happen that way?
We have each other a little bit for that, but Brady sometimes goes on a walk with her husband and comes back and is like, we solved it. I'm like, oh, thank you. But for our ideas, I'm trying to think, they come from different places. Last time I think we had like 6 or 8 ideas, and we'll write up like 3 or 4 paragraphs, like a back cover copy about them, and send them to our agents and our editor to see what resonates. But this last one, we had 2 ideas for our next book that we're doing, and we just both kept coming back to the one. And sometimes where you feel that spark and that like are just drawn to the characters in the story, then because you like you said, Gia, you read your book like how many times, and so you have to be really excited about it. So when we have that little spark, that's usually when we know we found the one.
Yeah.
And so you have different agents?
I was just going to ask that too, Dylan.
I know, we both were like, we caught that. What?
Agent?
We do because we both were on kind of separate publishing paths.
Yep.
We got agents separately. We're each actually published separately. And so we each got agents, and then it was during like the lockdown of COVID phase, like spring of 2020, that we started brainstorming, just swapping ideas, and came up with an idea to write something together. And we like wrote a lot of it before we even told our agents. And mine was like, how well do you know this person? Like,
not well at all. No.
wanting to like protect me and not get like, I don't know, taken advantage of or something. But it worked out.
Let's say
Yeah.
I'm actually curious, and you don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me this at all. But
that means don't tell her.
You don't have to tell me this on the broadcast either. But
Oh boy,
do your agents like split their commission, or how does that work with you guys?
We split our advances and
Split
anything we
everything.
make, and then our agents are paid from that. So yeah.
So our agents make 15% of whatever we make.
Oh, and they're cool with that.
Yeah.
Like, good for them. Oh, awesome. Yay, I'm excited for you. So are you guys like published traditionally or just hybrid? Are you hybrid, traditional?
We're published traditionally with Berkeley, part of Penguin Random House. But
Okay.
then this last year, October 28th, we had an idea for a holiday novella. So we dipped our toes in the self-publishing waters for that. So we put out a holiday novella called One Night, Two Holidays, inspired by the fact that Christmas and Hanukkah were on the same night or on the same day for this year. And it's about two people who get snowed in, one who celebrates Christmas and one who celebrates Hanukkah. And we were really lucky. It was like just a magical timing. It was also produced in audio by Julia Whalen. She has an audiobook company called Audiobrary. So we might keep doing that was a really fun experiment, just putting that out there. So hopefully we'll do some more things like that between our traditional books because they do take so long to come out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I will just say that I think you are our first guests who are co-authors, but also traditionally published. I find that fascinating. So, love you guys. Let's do one more question.
Okay.
One or two more. What's your favorite setting to write? I mean, like Dylann right now, she's all into some mountain men, so she's all in the mountains, right? What's your favorite setting? And let's start with Gia.
I guess I've been jumping around because I did a lot of small town and then I kind of got restless, so I jumped to big city for my most recent one. But I guess I always send them back to the Adirondacks for some reason or other. Well, I mean, I know why I like it, but there's always a reason. They're going on vacation or they're they're kidnapped and they end up in the Adirondack. I really like, I think like a lot of people having locations that they're familiar with, that they've visited a lot. And that's the Adirondacks are right like half an hour from me. And I've spent a lot of time there. So I have a lot of mountains and no mountain men yet, though. I need to come up with some mountain men next.
Real life mountain men, I don't think are as
no, I've been up in the Adirondacks and the mountain men up there are not
appealing, I guess.
No.
They're not romancy.
Yes, that's the fictional mountain men that we write. So
there are some men in the Adirondacks that are. I see Jen down there commenting. She's in the Adirondacks. There are some.
My mom told me about a mountain man that she knows personally in Montana mountains, and that's why Dylann, you did Montana mountains, and I'm like, ooh. Yours are a lot hotter than they actually exist because I mean they were talking about how he made them coffee and then later they found like a dead mouse carcass in the coffee grounds.
Okay, Dawn, why do you have to take us there?
Because that's where I live. I live in the Rockies.
Dead rodent into the mix. I mean, seriously.
Just saying. Okay, we'll get sexy again. Let's get sexy again. So
I mean, who wants to read after that? Seriously.
We're not reading, we're answering questions. Favorite setting. Let's get a different favorite setting from Ali Brady.
After that.
So for me, one of my favorite things that we do is we work really hard and put a lot of, like we really suffer for our craft, and we always go on a research trip to the place that we're writing. And so it's been fun to write. I've been familiar with every place that we've written so far, but I think my favorite, I live in Chicago, so that was fun to write, but my favorite is Destin, Florida, where our debut, The Beach Trap, was written. It, is just such a special place. It's so beautiful. My dad lived there for more than a decade, I think. He moved a little bit south now, but they have white sand beaches and crystal water, and it's just such a great place. And I was able to introduce Brady to it. We, again, took a research trip and had just the best time.
I don't know if you...
Is that when you, like, when is the first time you actually met each other in person?
We met at a writers conference, but what year was it? 2019, 2018? It was 2019. It was 2019. Yes.
It was 2019, and we went all in and we roomed together. Yeah. We're like, I hope we like each other. We're like in a room together. But it was great. But Brady, what's your favorite place to write?
Gosh, I don't know. I like variety, so it's hard for me to pick. I do love a beach setting. And then aside from that, I mean, we wrote a book that was set at a summer camp, and that was really fun too. So I really like that one.
In all of our books, it almost feels like the location is like one of the characters. So it is fun to bounce around and go to different places. And our next book, we picked it out and we're like, okay, where do we want to go? So our next one, we're going to do Key West, which will be really fun.
Oh, fun. Yeah. And you'll have to go to Ernest Hemingway's house and see all
see the cats and all that.
Yes. Fun.
That's awesome. Okay, one more question and then we'll get to you guys. What is one character archetype that you would be scared to write? And let's start with Gia.
Oh my gosh, that's tough. Scared to write.
Some high pressure questions.
I know that one's really tough. Maybe a mafia guy. I don't know about scared, but like, because I've been toying with it. Like, I've really been wanting to get some. I had a conversation with someone at a signing that I was at recently, and we were talking about, and I was like, she said, I love mafia stories. And I was like, I kind of want to wedge it in there somewhere, but I'm not sure how. How do I wedge in former military, protective guys with like mafia? I'm working on it. And so I feel like there's a mafia guy sometime in my future. But I feel like there's also a lot that I need to research before I even attempt that, because it's just such a different genre from what I'm used to. So I guess that would be the scariest, but also I'm going to do it.
All right. Yay. Hear that? She's going to do it, guys. I love that. I love it when an author gets brave and just jumps in, but I'm scared to jump in where I'm like,
Brady, you go first on this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm like scared of getting something wrong about somebody's like job or life or something like that. So anything like that. I mean, like a pilot. Oh, when I was on a girls' trip with a bunch of my friends, and they were like, Brady, you and Allison should write a book about a pilot and like a romance set and like an airplane. And I was like, I'd be so worried that I would mess it up. I mean, I know you can do research, but like I get in my head about that. So I'll say a pilot just because I feel like I know nothing about that.
Brady, can I ask you, was the pilot hot that day? Did you guys
pilot? I've heard they are not good to get involved in. This is the dirt that
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I think it depends. I mean, I'm not married to a pilot.
I was going to say, Dylan, did you even date it?
I did date a pilot once.
Okay.
And,
really? How was it?
Not great.
Not great. No.
Okay. I think he was a player.
Oh,
that's what I hear.
Yeah. I think that's the reputation.
He kind of ghosted me. So
yeah.
The only involvement I've had with a pilot was when I was working in a massage therapy place, and a pilot came in with his stewardess to get a couple's massage. I don't know. So
Dawn, they're called flight attendants.
I mean, sorry. Flight attendant to get a massage, and then.
And how did I never know that you worked in a massage therapy office?
Because that was like a hot
rub people for money. Like what?
No, me, I worked at the front desk and I got free massages.
Ooh.
That was a hot 3 months before we started Romance Happy Hour. So
Oh,
that's why.
okay. I had no
that's why.
idea.
It was like,
But I will say, like you, Allison and Brady, Dawn and I, when we first met, we were sharing a hotel room. So yeah, I'm glad that worked out too. Because
yeah.
Love it.
yeah, isn't it awkward then if it doesn't work out? Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I'm like a super extrovert and Brady is not an extrovert. And so we made a deal because I also have FOMO. So I was like, I wanted to go out with everybody after dinner and Brady wanted to go up to the room.
I was like,
And
I need a
was just like-
break.
I was like, you just can't fall asleep before I get there because we have to talk and debrief on the day.
Brady, do you like to go to bed by 7:30 and watch your shows?
I would love to, but I can't with my kids. I would love to though. I have teenagers and they're up so late.
Oh,
I am so tired right now, you guys. The summertime is the worst.
yeah.
With kids because it makes sense. They want to stay up. It's nice. It's cool
Right.
in the evening. Their friends are, they come over, they're having fun. And I'm just like, can you guys all go away so I can go to bed? I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
mom
sorry.
has a curfew. Everybody has to leave by 8:30. So yeah.
I'm with you, except for I actually go to bed at 7:30 and I have preteens,
Mhm.
not teenagers. But I just
You also
ignore them.
get up at, like,
Brady, you should make their curfew East Coast time. So like they can,
I really try, but it's hard, like they're doing like wholesome, cute things like playing little games in the backyard and it's hard.
Oh.
You just have to not appreciate it as much.
there you go.
Or have your husband put a camera back there so I'm sorry. I know. I
That's
get where
great
you're coming
advice
from.
Dawn.
I know.
Dawn, you were on
Advice-
fire tonight. I thought you said you were
I
really good. Yeah.
I mean, my husband took me to a Social Distortion concert on a Monday. Who does a concert on a Monday?
That's
But we
rough.
did. It was rough. And so I'm having it's like Tuesday to me right now because I took Tuesday off. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's try to get back on track.
yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
So we are going to turn it over to Ali Brady, and I don't know how you guys want to do this, but we're gonna give you the floor. And do you want to set this up at all, or?
Sure. We'll tell people about the book so they have a little context. So this is Battle of the Bookstores. It came out on June 3rd. Had 2 weeks on the USA Today bestseller list, so we're really excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The shortest explanation is that it's You've Got Mail meets The Hating Game. And I think we should probably tell the larger story because that'll set it up. So it is about 2 bookstores that are in Boston. Happy Endings sells romance only. And then next to Happy Endings is Tabula Inscripta, which sells more literary fiction. So these 2 bookstores have existed side by side for decades with no problem until one day a man buys both bookstores with the intent to combine them into one mega bookstore. And he only needs one manager for that. So one of the 2 managers is going to be out of a job at the end of the summer. It's going to be determined by who has the highest profits at the end of the summer. But things get complicated when?
Yeah, things get complicated because our 2 bookstore managers, Ryan, who is the manager of the romance bookstore actually, and Josie, who is the manager of the literary fiction bookstore, they, unbeknownst to them, they've struck up a friendship online in an anonymous forum for booksellers. So they're chatting with each other online, under usernames. They don't know who each other are. So as they are, their rivalry is heating up in real life. They're trying to make profit. They're trying to, get the customers in, and they're kind of battling it out with each other, not getting along super well. Online, they are, talking and developing friendships and trading book recs and that type of thing. And so at some point, somebody's going to find out what's going on, obviously. So you have to read the book to find out what happens then.
Very fun. I love that setup. I mean, that was, I don't know. I was a child of the rom-com era with every Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks movie ever made, right? And that's definitely one of my favorites. So,
well, I'll tell you that our character Ryan is named after Meg Ryan, and he wears a cardigan because he's like a male Meg Ryan. So we love it.
He's 6'7.5". That's the difference.
Very, very tall Meg Ryan.
Well, and I love that the guy owns the romance bookstore and the woman owns the other. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you starting from chapter 1 or?
It's funny. I just checked. We're also doing chapter 3. That must be the magic chapter. And you should know that this is, they just have found out about the competition that they are going to be at odds. And another thing you need to know is that Josie thinks that the character Ryan's name is Brian. So that's a
Oh.
little thing you need to know.
Okay.
That's funny.
All right. Well,
Okay.
we will leave you to it, and we'll be back when you're done.
Okay. I am going to read Josie. This is in Josie's point of view. So I'm going to read it, and then Allison's going to jump in as Ryan. Okay. So they are running into each other at the coffee shop that's between their two stores. They don't know each other very well, and Josie thinks his name is Brian. All right. They've run into each other. Excuse me, I say, taking a step back. He releases me and clears his throat. Allison.
Sorry, I thought we were starting earlier. Sorry. I was hoping we could chat.
Today, Brian's wearing a gray cardigan along with his pin-studded lanyard and tortoiseshell glasses. His hair is still a mess, though if he was a hero in a romance novel, it would probably be described as flowing chestnut locks that partially obscure the piercing gaze of his mahogany eyes. I'm not sure what he wants, but I'm not having this conversation while he's looking down on me. Sure, I say, let's sit. He seems surprised, but nods, and we both pull out chairs. My eyes catch on a pin on his lanyard. When I think about books, I touch my shelf. Shaking that away, I focus on Brian. He's staring at me, his eyes drifting across my face like I'm a book he's reading, a boring, bitter book. You wanted to talk, I say? He blinks.
Oh, yeah, about this whole Xander thing. I mean, there's no reason for us to be enemies.
Agree, I say, though I'm wary. I'd love to feel like we're on the same side, united by mutual loathing of our evil boss. Unfortunately, it seems that Xander and Brian are bros, united in their mutual scorn of me. What did you call her store, Lawson? A bleak wasteland of existential dread?
Great, that's great, Brian is saying, because after Xander combines the stores, it's going to be a lot to manage, and it's going to require a lot of work.
Yes, I say, unsure what he's getting at. Does he think I'm not capable of it?
I've been trying to think of what I could do. He brushes his hair out of his eyes, hesitating. So you aren't out of a job when?
What do you mean, when? My voice squeaks on the last word.
I mean, if, he corrects quickly.
You said when. I swallow the surge of dread. Did Xander say something to him? Maybe this whole competition is a farce and Brian's already got it in the bag. Word choice matters.
It was a slip of the tongue.
A Freudian slip, maybe.
He blinks at me from behind his glasses. Well, I apologize.
He doesn't sound apologetic. He sounds irritated, which isn't fair. He's the one who implied I was going to lose. Exhaling, I glance at my phone. Almost time to open. Thanks for the chat, Brian. But
Stop calling me that.
I rear back, shocked. Excuse me? He mumbles something I don't catch. I say.
Ryan, he says more clearly. My name, it's...
He turns the lanyard around. Ryan Lawson, manager, happy endings. My cheeks heat with embarrassment. I've been calling him the wrong name for days. But before I can apologize, he stands. He's looming over me, a mountain of a man, and I scramble to my feet and try to muster a confidence I do not feel. Is there anything else?
Yes, if you'd let me finish. He huffs out a frustrated sigh. All I'm trying to say is that if I win, he bites his lip, then blurts, you could be my assistant.
Indignation sparks through me. Your assistant?
I mean, I could hire you as an assistant manager, so you wouldn't be out of a job. The expression on his face is all, see what a nice guy I am?
Wow, that's great, I say.
Yeah? His eyebrows lift.
I mean, you're the man. You should be the boss. And all us little women should work for you, right? I'm gathering steam, letting the frustration I didn't unleash on that awful customer surge out of me. I bet that's why you love managing a bookstore. Hordes of women asking you to tell them what to read. And hey, if those books happen to reinforce the message that women aren't complete without a man, that's a bonus. Patriarchy at its finest. I step closer, poking a finger at his chest, saying what I wish I could say to every single person who has ever underestimated me. I'll never be your assistant, Mr. Happy Endings, and you'd better polish up your resume because I'm going to win this battle. And the first thing I'll do, fire you.
Ooh. So because that was a little short, we're going to flip a few pages. And so they're enemies clearly now. They're not, they're in enemy territory. But like we said, they're also chatting on an anonymous website called Book Friends. And you can see that the pages are they're chatting. So we thought we would read. This is just a couple, like maybe a day later.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
Book Friends, May 29th, 10:11 p.m.
Bookshop girl. To celebrate making it through an exceptionally bad day, would you like to play a game?
RJ reads, always.
Badly describe one of your favorite childhood books. Go.
Let's see. A bear with a binge eating disorder, a pig with generalized anxiety, and a donkey with clinical depression have adventures in a forest.
Winnie the Pooh?
Yep. My mom read it to me when I was little.
Lucky, I have no memories of my mother reading to me, but she only read Bodice Rippers, so that's probably a good thing. Anyway, my turn. Let me think. Okay, got it. Misanthropic chocolatier lures children to factory powered by forced indigenous labor, resulting in the death and or injury of nearly all the children, while said indigenous laborers sing cautionary songs.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Ding, ding, ding. Too easy?
My 4th grade teacher read it out loud to us. Thinking about it brings back memories of prepubescent body odor.
Yuck.
It's funny because at the time I thought Willy Wonka was this magical, whimsical guy, but now I think maybe he was the villain.
Wonka wasn't the villain. The real villain is Grandpa Joe.
What?
The man lies in bed for 20 years, allowing his poor daughter-in-law to break her back caring for him until Charlie gets that golden ticket. Then Grandpa Joe jumps right out of bed and dances a freaking jig.
Darn, I never thought about it that way.
He's a lazy, malingering freeloader who tagged along with Charlie and nearly ruined everything. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
I knew I liked you.
So that is 2 little sections from Battle of the Bookstores.
Awesome. Let me get everybody back up on here. That was fun. I think the describe the books badly was probably my favorite part.
Oh my gosh.
So far.
Right?
We had a lot of fun with those.
I'm sitting here going like, I never thought of that. You're right. Like the whole time.
I know, right? Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe. He's
I'm
a
not
little villain.
sure. Grandpa Joe wasn't the one that, snuck off in the elevator, though, and all that good stuff. That was Charlie.
20 years in bed while his daughter
20 years
was
in bed.
That is true.
Can I ask who's the one that
Fine.
clearly you, Allie, are the one that thought of that one? You're like
No,
20 years
no.
in bed.
No,
that
it
was
was-
you?
That came from my husband. He is highly, and if you knew my husband Nate, he is like a very hardworking, diligent person. He does not let other people, do things for him that he can do for himself. Like he's very self-sufficient. He waters all the plants. Yeah. But he's always said that. He's like, it drives me insane that Grandpa Joe just lays there. And then as soon as something good happens, he's fine. Now he's fine. We couldn't, wash the floor before, but now he's dancing. Anyway.
Poor Grandpa Joe.
I love this so much. You don't understand. I love this. Oh, you guys are amazing.
I had never heard anyone hate on Grandpa Joe before.
No.
So this is
there's a whole subreddit about hate, F Grandpa Joe. You can look at
gosh.
Did you look it up? Is that part of the research you did?
Did you start it?
I just saw it. When I started, I should have. Maybe my husband did.
Maybe your husband did. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. His secret double life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're ever like questioning your husband because he's like secretly texting and stuff, you need to make sure that he's not on a thing like F Grandpa Joe
20 years
website.
Bed.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Okay. So I'm going to do this one question, and then Dylan, I have to do the question for our Australian friend who I don't know is here.
Yeah, I didn't even see Deanna on here tonight.
I did not see her. Okay, so this one question is, how did you guys, and I'm curious for both of you, or all three of you, I should say both of you, how did you decide to write in your genre versus another genre? And let's start with Gia.
Okay, so for me, I think it's because ever since I was probably 10 years old and getting my mom's Harlequins from her from the pile in the hall closet because she had like the subscription, and so she had stacks of Harlequins, and I always liked the Harlequin intrigues the best. And so as I got older, I was like, there were the silhouette ones and the Harlequin ones, and I always bought like every single one of the suspense ones, and then I would start creating my own suspense stories in my head, and and there was always the protective guy swooping in, to do something very manly and romantic and protective. And so it was sort of like a natural flow of actually taking one of those stories in my head and eventually turning it into an actual book.
I love that so much. You actually make my heart feel so like warm right now because like you're your mother's daughter right now, taking after your mom. Like, oh my gosh, romance. Yes. I love you and your mom. I'm just gonna say that tonight.
She's very excited that I write romance, and she does read them all. And I'm like, Mom, you don't
Good.
have to read the steamy parts, but she does.
She's probably your biggest fan.
No, I think so, probably.
Yeah.
Well, is my aunt one time, because I didn't tell people right away when I started writing romance because it was steamy and I wasn't really sure I wanted family members reading that. Just felt like it might be a little awkward, but she told me one time, she said, I've either done it, thought about it, or already read about it. So there's nothing you can shock me with. And so after that, it was just like, okay, the pressure's off. So yeah.
I mean, I'm going to pop this second question up because you just made me think of it, Dylan, by saying that. Because
but you didn't let Ali Brady answer.
I'm gonna get there.
Okay. I didn't
Double
know that
question.
you had a plan. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna
Didn't mean
double
to interrupt.
question it.
Okay.
Because this is stemming from it. But who is the weirdest family member that is like your biggest supporter? Me is my grandpa, who is my biggest reader. Gia, is it your mom that's your biggest supporter or your like most shocking supporter in your family?
Actually, no. So when I first started writing, and I was like desperate for anybody and everybody to that I knew to read my books, I was handing my books out to everyone, and my dad read a few of my books in the beginning to support me, and that was like very sweet, but also kind of like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And he tried to like talk to me about the books, but then he was also like, those parts that you wrote, there were some parts I just kind of skimmed through, and I was like, please skim through them. Just skim on through them.
Yeah.
Do you want me to post it the spots that you shouldn't read and like just skip that whole chunk? Like,
just take a black Sharpie to them.
Just ignore chapter 3.
Ignore these 10 pages, please. But he is very supportive. So that was nice that my dad did actually read some of my steamy romance books.
I love that. Okay, Ali Brady, 2 questions in one. How did you decide your genre together? And then who's your weirdest but biggest familial supporter? Most unexpected familiar supporter of your writing.
Say that, separately, I write women's fiction and Brady writes, would you call it suspense thrillers?
Yeah, like psychological thrillers.
So we both have like a foot in other genres as well. Our first 3 books were like a combination of like women's fiction and romance, where it was about a central story of like 2 women, best friends or estranged sisters, and they each had a romance. So there was 2 romances in one. And this is our first pure romance. And I don't know, like the world needs love right now, and like happy just to dive into a happy book. But Brady, I don't know. Do you think anything else for our shift to romance?
I think we loved writing stories about sisterhood with a side of romance. And this is kind of a romance with a side of sisterhood and found family. So we just kind of swapped it. And the nice thing, there's a few nice things about writing romance. Number one, the community is amazing. Like romance authors are incredible. They're so supportive of each other. Romance readers are incredible and voracious and so supportive. And so that's really fun. And then also, we could spend more time like diving into this relationship and really, getting to know these characters and their wounds and what they need to learn from each other and how they support each other. And I mean, it was really just a joy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as far as the family members, I have a small family. My mom, my dad, and my sister all read every book. But I will tell you 2 funny stories related to their reading or hawking my books. My mom has stacks, like she's like almost a bookstore on her own. She hands books out to anybody. And once she's okay, but she had it like AFib, and there was so an ambulance like came to get her, and she gave the ambulance person who was like guarding her out like, do you like to read, and like handed her our book. And then my dad, not realizing I think how spicy our novella was, bought like 13 copies, and so he gave and his girlfriend made little banana bread loaves, so he gave banana bread and a copy of the book as like a holiday gift. And I was like, Dad, like maybe
It's spicy too.
I love that.
But I was down there on New Year's Eve at a party, and one of his like friends, this woman like, you know, in her 70s, comes up to me and she's like, I read your dirty little book. And I'm like, can I just like crawl into like a hole now? So
That's
it's
awesome.
Oh, it's so funny. Let's see. I can't think of anybody like super unexpected. I mean, my mom was like is and was a big romance reader growing up. So like I had the same thing where I would like sometimes like take her little books with like the Scottish man with the kilt and like the bodice kind of thing. And I would like flip through and like read things. And so, yeah, so I've never been really worried about my mom reading them, honestly. Like it's totally fine. My dad listens to all of our books, including the steamy scenes, including our novella that we self-published that Teddy Hamilton was the male. And he's kind of like his voice is kind of, if you've listened to his, yeah. So that was interesting.
It makes it sound steamier just with his growly voice.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic.
Awesome. I have one more question, and then Jen had a couple questions you guys can go back to later and answer. One was for both of you and the other one's for all of you. But I have to ask this for our Australian friend who isn't here, and she likes me to ask this every single time. But if your life or love life was a trope, what would it be? Let's start with Gia.
A rom-com.
Oh,
for sure. My husband is like one of the like he's just very funny, and I think we're kind of like goofy together. So people, you know, my friends, not people online, but my friends will be like, "Oh, did you write? You know, did you get inspiration from your husband for your books?" And I'm like, "No, no, because I don't do rom-coms." But I'd say that's probably us.
I'll go next because for me, I'm the funny best friend. I like waiting for her love story.
She needs to be the main character soon.
I know.
I love it.
The apps are terrible.
I have heard that. Yes. But yes,
I met my husband on online. So there's good ones out there.
Keep swiping.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't give up hope.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's see. For me, a trope. I mean, my husband and I weren't really like, I would say friends to lovers, although we weren't really friends before we started dating, but like we just have such a really deep friendship. And you know, and he's so supportive and he really is my best friend. So it feels like friends and lovers at the same time. So
nice.
And Plant Daddy. We should make a trope called Plant Daddy.
Yes, Plant Daddy. That's a new trope.
That's your next book. You need a plant daddy in your next book.
That's so cute. We
I'm
should
gonna
do that.
We're gonna have
book/plant app, because I do have some plant apps myself.
Nice.
And so if I actually saw one called Plant Daddy, I'd be like, yeah, let me get that app.
He could have a plant store. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's cute. I
really love it.
And talk to them all the time. Yeah.
Okay, so if we see you're all of a sudden on a yacht and stuff, like we're gonna be like, yeah, she patented Plant Daddy, and now
Awesome. Well, I think as usual, we are a few minutes over time, but I don't know. We have so much fun. It's hard to bring the show to an end. But we appreciate you all being with us tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a blast getting to hear your books and getting to know a little bit more about you. You have anything else, Dawn?
No.
Okay. Wow.
Finally I'm out of words.
You're all worded out. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having us. This has been so fun.
Absolutely.
Yes,
No,
thank you
this
so
has been
much.
a lot of fun. Real quick before we kind of shut things down, is there any place in particular where readers should go to find you if they want to learn more? Gia, why don't you go first real quick?
Well, giacobie.com is my website, or you can find me on Amazon. All my books are on there, and they're all in KU, so you can binge them all.
Great. And how about you guys?
Our website is allibradybooks.net. We're Ali Brady Books on Instagram and Substack. And then newly on TikTok, again, we're Ali_Brady_books.
Okay, great. Well, it was fantastic getting to know you a little bit better. And as for everybody else, we will see you in 2 weeks. We'll be back the 4th Thursday in, wait, no, it's only June. See, now you're rubbing off on me, Dawn.
Yeah.
I'm doing this fun. We'll be back the 2nd Thursday in July.
And for our American friends, have a wonderful 4th of July.
Yes, hope everybody has a great holiday. If
Dylan will be with the Beavers.
I know we didn't talk about the beavers tonight. I think,
We did not.
yeah, we have nuisance beavers up on our lake. It's a whole thing. We've talked about it so many times.
She's gonna be hanging out with them for the 4th of July. That's all we
I-
got to know.
I might be. We'll see. I don't know if it ever stops raining up here. I might actually be able to go in the lake, which would be kind of nice. But I'll keep you posted. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thanks for being with us tonight, and we'll see you next time. All right.
Bye.
Bye.